Hello, welcome back to Eating Smart and Being Active. This segment is about going lean with protein. Um, Again, my name is Shoshonda Davis. I am a nutrition educator with Central State University Extension, and I work under the FNEP umbrella. So, why do we need protein? Anybody know? I do. Protein builds muscle, it strengthens your immune system, and it helps to protect against some illnesses. So many protein foods are good sources of iron, and which is needed for healthy blood. It's also to prevent anemia. Anemia causes very low energy. What are protein foods? Protein foods can come from plants or it can come from animals. A lot of people have talked about tofu. Tofu is a vegan or a plant-based protein. Plant foods contain fiber. Protein foods contain fiber, which we have learned is important in preventing heart disease and cancer. Plant sources of proteins like beans and peas. The peas and some beans. These are dry beans though. Don't want to eat them like that. Like beans and peas are very low in fat. Then we have nuts and seeds, and they have some fat, but it's a healthy fat called unsaturated fat. Then we have animal protein foods. Animal protein foods contain iron, but the iron that is easily absorbed by our bodies. Animal sources of protein, other than fish, contain saturated fat. Saturated fat is the bad fat, and it can contribute to heart disease. So, how much protein do we need? Question is, individuals ages 2 to 8 need at least 2 to 4 ounces of protein, and individuals ages 9 and up need 5 to 6.5 ounces of protein per day. We have fish and shellfish. It's also considered in the protein group. So here we have some fish. We got sardines. We've got some tuna. I don't have any shellfish up here today, but your crab, your lobster, shrimp, those are shellfish. They contain nutrients including protein, iron, and omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids help to keep our hearts healthy. It's recommended that adults eat at least 8 ounces of fish per week. Choosing from lean sources of protein, including plant sources, will help to decrease fat and increase fiber in your diet. There are other tips to remember to help reduce fat when cooking protein foods. You want to trim the fat from the meat before you cook it. Like people sometimes buy that juicy steak because it's got that extra slab of fat on the side. You want to kind of cut that off. Remove the skin from your chicken and your turkey after it's been cooked, and then roast, grill, or broil meats instead of frying them. Also, you can always try eating smaller portions. Sometimes that's difficult. So this is a good time right now to talk about food safety and why it's important. It's important to follow food safety guidelines to keep foods safe to eat and to keep them safe or prevent foodborne illnesses. Foodborne illness is commonly known as food poisoning. Food poisoning can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and in very bad cases, even death. About half of the cases of foodborne illnesses are caused by improper food handling in the home and even in restaurants. There's something called a danger zone. Danger zone is where bacteria can grow rapidly between the degrees, 40 degrees and 140 degrees on any protein source. By promptly refrigerating or freezing food or cooking it at a safe temperature, this keeps the food out of the danger zone. Remember that bacteria grows very quickly in warm and moist environments. It also can grow quickly at room temperature. So always remember, put everything away that has been cooked into the refrigerator. That will help slow down the growth of the bacteria. Food that's refrigerated still can have bacteria in it because it's already been cooked. So you want to make sure that if it's in the refrigerator, it's usually on the refrigerator 3 to 5 days. Okay. Now, there's 4 main safety messages that we want to pay attention to when it comes to protein foods. Those are clean, separate, cook, and chill. Clean involves cleaning your hands and all your surfaces that come into contact with the food that you're about to prepare. Do not wash your meat and poultry, as this spreads bacteria into the sink and to countertops. Cooking meat and poultry to the appropriate temperature will destroy the bacteria. Then we want to separate. Always separate your cooked and ready-to-eat foods from raw fish or poultry while shopping, preparing, and storing your food. Cook meat, poultry, and fish to a safe internal temperature to kill the bacteria. Then you want to chill any perishable foods promptly and thaw foods properly. Thaw foods in the refrigerator or the microwave, never on the counter or in the sink. Then we have a way to test for doneness. A lot of people cook, and they have cooked for years, and they've done this probably for years. They look at it, and they say, oh, I think it's done. Well, that's not the proper way, so we want to use a thermometer. We want to use a thermometer so that we can test the proper internal temperature. Food safely cooked is safely cooked when it gets to an internal temperature that kills the bacteria that could cause foodborne illnesses. Always use a thermometer to determine the internal temperature of the cooked foods. Color and texture, again, are not reliable indicators of doneness. Then we have different types of thermometers. Today I have a dial instant read. It looks like this, has a dial, usually comes with a sheath on the end, and it has a point. There's also a little groove in here that tells you how far to stick the thermometer into the meat. And remember, when you stick it into the meat, you want to stick it into the thickest part of the meat and not necessarily through it like this, but at a slant. Okay? They also have a digital instant read, which it's a little fancier than this one. It's got a little digital box. It's really cute. But it does the same thing. It has a probe that goes into the meat, but it gives you a digital read instead of a manual read. Then we also have an oven core thermometer. I haven't seen one of those in ever, but they're really cool. They can be used inside the oven or outside the oven. It has a long cord that you can you put inside the food, and then you can hang the readable part on the outside of the oven, or you can just go back and forth and check the oven. And then we have our lovely pop-up thermometers. Those are the thermometers that we find in our turkeys and our roasting hens, roasting chickens. But those aren't always the best way to check for doneness. Always use, if this is the cheapest one, always use one of these whenever you're cooking, even if it has a pop-up thermometer on it. Safe internal temperature is different for different types of foods. Remember this, temperature at which harmful bacteria can vary, and so does the type of bacteria. And then the temperature that is required for each type of meat also varies. Going lean with protein is an important component to every meal, and that is the safe preparation and cooking of foods will make every meal enjoyable. Thank you for your attention today. I look forward to seeing you again.